Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone. We are here to have random discussions, but we do have two Doctor Who things to talk about, and then we'll see what the panelists what else they want to add. So, yeah, welcome. So, for the next hour, as I said, we'll be covering numerous of topics, but we will be starting off with Doctor Who. But let's give some shout outs in the chat. So we got Cinnamon Toast Crunch and we've got Tardis Spider. And Cinnamon pointing out the fact that Twitter is in the meltdown. Yeah, I know. I just have to tweet stuff and everybody loses their absolute cool. You know, at the end of the day, I laid me cards out on the table last night about what I expected from Doctor Who and what I didn't want it to become. If that's upset people, then so be it. At the end of the day, you know, I'm not going to back down on any opinion that I have. The fact is, me DMs have been invaded by the Rainbow mob, and they've threatened to have me account taken down. Listen, I don't really care if it's taken down. I haven't said anything that's hateful. I've just given my opinion, and it's rubbed you guys up the wrong way. You need to grow up. If you don't like what I have to say, just move on. But I don't know where these have all came from, so I'm pretty sure someone who doesn't like me retweeted me, and then all you guys then got sent my way. But if you think you are going to intimidate me in some way or get me to back down because you're sending me DMs and stuff, it's not going to work. Like, do you know what I mean? You're wasting your time. So just get over it. You know what I mean? At the end there, it gave me your opinion. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But to call me bigoted and all the names that you are calling me, it's absolutely ridiculous. All I said is that it seems lately that RTD has cast a lot of LGBTQ plus actors and actresses, which is a fact. Right? And all I said was, where's the balance? Right? I also said I didn't want the show to be used. Right? For all of this other nonsense that goes on. Valid points. Valid points. You mightn't like what I have to say, but they're valid points. So again, you know, get a life, grow up, move on. You know, we're not always going to agree on things. It doesn't mean that you can then come to me and start giving me a load of crap in me DMs. You know, I've got better things to be doing. You know, and only respond to you because I'm amused by it all. He's a big, me really busy. So, you know, to me, it's just all a bit of fun. Like, get over yourselves. Who are you as the Twitter police? Oh, you've got to watch what you say. You know, Mad Austrian back in the 1930s had similar ideas, you know, trying to stop what people said. You know, we've seen all the other nonsense that goes on, the intimidation. I mean, it's not going to work. So, you know, I've spent 9 minutes. Well, I haven't spent 9 minutes. I've spent 2 or 3 minutes on it now. It's done. I'm going to move on and bring on my guest because we do have some Doctor Who announcement. There was a Doctor Who announcement made, and we've got the latest cover of the Doctor Who magazine. As we always do, we show you the cover of the Doctor Who magazine. So we're going to be showing you the latest cover of the Doctor Who magazine, but I'm not here alone. I've sent the email to PD, but I don't know what's going on there. He could be in college because he has been writing an essay. So He's probably busy. He probably told me and I didn't pick up on it. But we do have Queen Charlotte here with us. So if he does pop in the meantime, obviously we'll bring him on. But we got Queen Charlotte
Hello,
joining me here.
everybody.
Oh, there she is. There you go. Right, let's get into this Doctor Who stuff so we can move swiftly on. So I'll have to go into Twitter there. It's in the link description, by the way, the two topics that we're talking about. So if you want to go in and check, and then obviously then we'll find out what Queen Charlotte has either been watching or whatever she wants to get off her mind this week.
Hi, Tardis.
But yeah, it's still funny that people out there. I mean, you can threaten to take me, have me account taken down. I mean, it's no big deal to me, as I said. You
They
know,
won't. You've always had that threat for how
it
many
doesn't
years
matter
now?
anyway. I've got another account. It's no big deal. Like people think if I lose that account, I'm going to be devastated. See, I'm not like you guys. It doesn't really, if I'm banned off Twitter, it's not going to be a big loss. To me, it might be a thing for all of you guys to celebrate, but go ahead. Sad, but if I get banned off Twitter, it's grand. It's not going to affect what I do. Anyway, very interesting casting because the actress that was in Torchwood has now been cast in Doctor
I was
Who.
going to say, is this new? Because her.
Yeah, the Duchess Unleashed, award-winning actress Indra Varma is crossing galaxies as she joins the new series of Doctor Who. So, as you know, if any of you are fans of Torchwood or have seen Torchwood, she was in the original team of Torchwood, and then she basically put a
She
bullet.
got killed.
Yeah, but she put a bullet in between Jack's eyes, thinking that she killed him. She went a bit rogue, um, and she was killed off. And then they had that famous episode. What was it? Let's Kill Susie or something. It was
Yeah,
where
it was
they
like, what if, wasn't it? It was a very what if situation.
Yeah, where she goes and she takes out her dad because he's an evil son of a. It's actually a really creepy episode. If you haven't seen it, that's one of Torchwood's best. So she joins the cast as Doctor Who. She's a great actress, so I don't have any problem uh with this. If we'll go in and see what the details are on her character, I suppose I should do that. Just so we have a little
But
bit more
from my
knowledge.
memory of her in Torchwood, she was really good in Torchwood. So
Yeah,
she's a good casting just off her
yeah,
skill alone.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. She is. She's a good choice. She is brilliant in Torchwood. I was actually a bit annoyed they killed her off, to be quite honest, but I could understand because, like, it was the whole point of introducing Gwen to the
Yeah,
team. I just
Gwen
don't
was
know
the
how.
replacement.
Yeah, it's. I just couldn't. I just couldn't understand why they couldn't keep her as well. But I suppose you had to have a certain amount of cast members probably on the team, and maybe one more was maybe too much. So, first entering the world of Doctor Who, Susie Costello in RTD's spin off Torchwood. Uh, Indra now steps aboard the Tardis in her new mysterious role as the Duchess. Ooh, she's playing royalty. So she was in Game of Thrones. She was also in Obi-Wan. She was in Obsession. Um, what's that? Acclaimed Man and Superman. The Seagull. She's also in Torchwood. So I mean, she's got an absolutely fantastic CV. But I seen her in Doctor Who anyway. Even if she didn't go on to do all of this stuff, to be quite honest with you, I would have been still happy. It doesn't say any more about the role that she's playing except Duchess. So maybe that's royalty.
Or maybe I'm just always got this on my head now. That almost sounds like it could be a Time Lord title.
Could be. It could
Like the
be.
Doctor, the Master, the
Yeah,
Duchess.
yeah. Actually, fair point. Fair point, actually. But let's see what everybody in the chat is saying about. Let's see. We'll go up a little bit. So we've got the Warped Eyebrow Ezra is also in the chat there. We got James and Raymond O'Reilly and Matt Jones also in the chat as well. Can we get Shooty to send you a kind message? I don't know. I thought. Listen, it doesn't bother me.
Oh, Cinnamon. Yeah, that's probably already been said that she's the Rani at this point.
Listen, right? It doesn't really matter who she is in the show. At the end of the day, it's a brilliant bit of casting. And whoever she's gonna play, it's gonna be an intense character anyway. Because she's quite an intense actress. I mean, even playing Susie, she was. And I mean, her backstory and that was rather sad because obviously her dad was obviously cruel towards her or whatever was going on there for her to want to, do what she did to her dad. You know what I mean? What drives you to do that? You know what I mean? Like she found a way that even after death, that she'd be able to be brought back so she could get revenge because she had
Yeah,
unfinished
and it was
business.
sort of her whole story, wasn't it? A lot to do with power corruption, like how power corrupts somebody. Because she found that glove that she got really obsessive over, and that's what she
Yeah,
used then when she came back.
yeah. And then they used it on oh, don't
Yeah,
even get me started on Torchwood. Yeah, I know Torchwood gets a lot of stick off a lot of people, but I actually really adore Torchwood. The first
at
three
the beginning it
seasons,
was
anyway.
brilliant.
Yeah, I think the first three seasons are great. I mean, I'd say probably the fourth season is the weakest. The second season is great, but I think the third season, Children of the Earth, is that's the best Torchwood you'll ever get. And the last one, I didn't really like that one, but you had a big cast and a big budget, and it just didn't really play right.
Oh, that
This
makes
actually,
sense if she's done Big Finish.
yeah, she's done Big Finish as well. Well, then there you go. There you go. But we do have some other Doctor Who news that dropped. Oh, not Doctor Who news, I should say. The latest issue of Doctor Who magazine is obviously coming out soon, and yeah, I'll show you now. I do like that new logo. I have to say. Well, I mean the old new logo.
The diamond, as I
Yeah,
refer to it now in my head.
the diamond. So the latest Doctor Who magazine goes on sale tomorrow. And this is the latest cover of. Oh, it's come up black. What's going on? Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's not up yet, no.
Still not up yet.
No. There it is, now it is.
So this is probably just all coincidence, but
Yeah, I think it is.
yeah, but you have all the furore that's happened over the last 24 hours with the media saying that Yasmin Finney is playing the new Rose Tyler, and then the Doctor Who magazine cover comes out, and it just so happens to be now it is coincidence. Obviously, it is. They didn't change it last minute or anything like that. But it is just a bit of a coincidence with all the flaw. But this will be an interesting one for the simple reason is, and this is why I wanted to bring it up. RTD now will obviously talk, and we might get a little bit more knowledge on who Rose is, and hopefully there's something in it that ends all of this speculation of Yasmin Finney being Rose Tyler, or whatever other conspiracy that people have come up with. I hope this ends it all now.
Same here.
Because, I think people should just get. I don't think it is Rose Tyler anyway. There's a little article, the little thing here on Alex Kingston as well. River Song goes on. In fairness, right, I'm just going to say this, right. I have nothing against River Song. I love River Song's character. You all know that, right? But what's starting to annoy me now is that her story was done a long time ago. Like, it was done a long time ago. There's still a character there, right? And people are gonna start going mad at me again here now, right? But I don't actually care, right? I'm just gonna say it out straight. We have a character in Captain Jack, right? In Captain Jack, that has a lot of a backstory that hasn't been explored. We've seen some of it in Torchwood, right? But we all know somehow Captain Jack becomes the face of Bo. There's plenty of Captain Jack's story to be told, but they keep focusing on River Song, and River Song's story is actually done. We've got Gobby Guy in the chat as well.
Hi, Gobby.
Gobby says, I no longer care anymore. A lot of fans are feeling like that right now. Got to be honest with you, it's. I don't know. We've gone into this lull again.
I honestly think, and this is what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. I think fans have had too long with not enough little bits of something information-wise to get their claws into.
Yeah.
Because if Russell's not giving us, if we're just getting random casting announcements with no context at all as to who they're playing, then there's no excitement for these castings. And if you think about what news we have had, it's just been casting, but we've just been told nothing in relation to that casting.
Yeah, it is a bit strange because even in the old days, they used to tell you, "Oh, this character is played." They'd even name who the character
they'd give
was,
a bit
but they
of
wouldn't.
something.
But they'd give a little bit of something. But now it seems to be rather RTD's keeping everything very, very close to his chest. Which, if the previous era was a success, you would say you can understand why he'd want to keep everything super secret. But he needs to give some meat on the bone.
That's what it is. We've had cryptic stuff. We've had casting announcements, which is good for some of your news because, of course, we're always going to go, "Oh, this person's in it," but then they shouldn't be the core of your marketing, and that's all the marketing has been so far.
Yeah, like today with your woman that they've just announced, right? They've told us that she's playing a character called the Duchess, right? So we're all intrigued now, and we're like, who could she be? You said, like, could it be a Time Lord? Could it be, as someone said, because everybody that gets announced
Every
now
female, yeah.
every female happens to be the Rani now to everybody. But I mean, they gave something, like they're playing a character called the Duchess, and everybody's like, okay, so the Duchess, like, that's interesting. Who could she be? You know, it is a good point. It's a fair point to make. I think a lot of people, if I'm honest with myself as well, I was actually expecting a little bit more from the trailer. He could have probably put a little bit more in there. I mean, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because I'm watching either way, because I said I was going to give it a go. So I can wait for the big trailer. But I think a lot of fans, especially Eurovision, the way they hyped it all up, I think you needed to give more substance to the 42 seconds.
I think that's the problem. It's incredibly breadcrumbs at the moment. And like back in the day, he would keep plenty of things secret. But he would, like you said, if a casting was announced, he would at least say, like, "Oh, they're going to be a friend to the Doctor or an enemy to the Doctor or something like that, which wasn't giving us the whole backstory, but it gave us a bit of a, okay, maybe they're going to be this sort of character. We'll wait until we watch it. But giving us just, like I said, whether it's the woman they've just announced today, Duchess, whether it was, we don't even know who Jinx is playing. That's all I'll say on that front. So we've not even been given a name for Jinx. We just know that individuals in the show. So do you know what I mean by there's nothing to keep people interested or to keep excitement going? And it's just, I don't get it. I really don't, because like I said, casting announcements are fun, but you look at that on Twitter for like, or Facebook for 5 minutes and then you carry on with your day. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to get you going. It's not going to get you excited.
Yeah, yeah, it seems to have gone into a bit of a lull. Maybe the Doctor Who magazine might change something for the people that obviously read the magazine, but I think for the public, he definitely needs to up his game a little bit. I think
Yeah.
I think he has been doing okay, but I think if you make such a hype about the Eurovision, right, and you have Catherine Tate there, and you're gonna drop something. I mean, as I said, I was pretty enough satisfied with it, but when I brought you on, you made some excellent points and points that I actually do agree with. It's just I was kind of okay. I don't mind waiting till Comic Con sort of thing. I'd rather find out about other
Yeah, but
stuff.
here's
You
the
know what I
thing, though.
mean?
We don't even know we're going to get anything at Comic Con. We're just all assuming.
Gobby Guy says he's doing it on purpose. He's just causing more aggro, and that's why I don't care. He makes an announcement and then sits back while everybody tears into each other. Yeah, that does. I will agree there. That does seem to be the case lately, doesn't it? With the latest series of castings, it seems like people are waiting in the wings, gunning for people to say something, whether it be you know positive or negative. It's just gone that way. It's actually a bit weird.
Yeah,
It's
and
weird. You can't make any comments at all. It doesn't matter what's, you know what I mean? You just can't. Like, even me today and yesterday, I made a few comments and people are in uproar. Like, get a life. Get a
well,
life.
yeah, and the other issue is, I think the casting's another aspect, which I don't know if you've talked about, but I've sort of noticed a bit, is the role set from today's. I think this, like I said, I've forgotten the actress's name. I feel bad. Set from that woman you showed today, everybody else has been incredibly Netflixy audience, if that makes sense. Which is, Netflix is a big platform, but the thing is with Netflix, if you're into that show, you will watch that show. But so many people just watch the shows they like on Netflix and they don't even look at anything else. So if, for example, with Yasmin Finney, I've not watched Heartstopper. It's not my type of show to watch on Netflix, so I don't have a clue who she is. But that means there's a whole load of your audience that you're announcing this person, and they'll go, who? It's like, he needs to have a mixture, I feel like, of, yes, you need some younger, like, generation type actors and actresses, but you need some actual establishment as well. But it seems to be very, like I said, really streaming heavy. He's picking also his castings from at the moment.
But don't a lot of shows I've noticed that myself though, a lot of these actors and actresses jump from streaming platform to stream, whether it's Apple or Amazon Prime or Netflix or Hulu, like they jump between now. It seems to be, instead of like the way they used to jump between, TV stations and studios like that, they're jumping between, you know, the streaming service, and a lot of these companies will pick up the same type of actors and actresses. It's just
Like, it's not like Russell's unique in doing this. I just think, to add to once again what we were talking about, you've got a lot of especially in Britain, streaming's a thing in Britain, but it's not the big thing it is in America, for example. So if you're casting somebody who's known for streaming, it's not going to have as much of a reach in the UK. Not from a certain age demographic who still watch BBC One, ITV, channel, all the traditional channels. And that's what I'm saying. There needs to be a bit more of a mixture, I feel, of some, like I said, some really heavy Netflixy or streaming or whatever they've been on. But you also need, I'd like somebody who's been in lots of
You
movies,
mean
for
people
example.
that have been on traditional TV?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, yeah, I think these three, that's the thing that we are losing, is the traditional TV actor and actress, which is nothing wrong with them. I actually love them. Some of the best drama is
Oh,
on
yeah.
your TV, like. But these three, yeah, it's like a hybrid now, and I mean, I do agree with you. I think it's very, and this was me one worry with the Disney deal. That even though Disney don't have any creative input, they might like say for example, just say to RTD, look, this is going to be shown all around the world. We'd like more American actors and actresses to start, appearing in the show.
Well, to be
Have
fair, we've only had one, haven't we? But I'm seeing more of that, like I said, certain
yeah, we've
type
had
of.
a load of Americans in RTD's force there. I'm not complaining about that.
Oh,
What I'm
yeah, no, I know
saying
what you mean.
is that what I'm saying is Disney might, they won't have any creative input, but they might put some ideas across the RTD where they say, this is going to be shown in certain parts of the world. Maybe this series could have a certain amount of American actors, and then maybe next series, because it's going to be shown in this country, we could represent people from that country and stuff, and so on and so on, which there's nothing wrong with. But the one thing that Doctor Who must hold on to is the Britishness.
Oh, yes.
It's a British show. So first and foremost, in my opinion, Doctor Who must champion the best of British. And, the Doctor Who should be the platform for the brightest talent to be showcased on. And they shouldn't forget that. And they should hopefully stick to that model as well. I'm not saying you can't have representation. Of course you can. But you've got to remember that Doctor Who is, and it cannot lose that Britishness. That's what makes it unique.
Yeah.
Right? So, you can still have your diversity, because Britain is a very diverse country anyway, right? You can still have your young talent coming through, but British talent as well. It's very important that the show, because it's a British show, has mostly British representation, and then you bring in, you do what you have to do then to meet your quotas with certain companies and all of this rubbish, making sure you bring in the right people to do it. That's all we ask. That's all we've ever asked. Nobody's against anybody playing a role if they're the right person for it. I mean, this all started because Jodie Whittaker was cast, and it turns out she wasn't right for the role, whether you agree with me or not. That was the bottom line. She wasn't. It didn't work because Chris Chibnall, to be quite honest with you, Chris Chibnall failed because he didn't know how to write a female doctor.
He couldn't write female characters, let's be fair.
He couldn't write female characters. And you're the expert because you are a woman. And you know that. I mean, you've watched this area. He cannot write female characters, can he? And that's where he failed with Jodie Whittaker. Because if he was able to write a female character, I'm not saying Jodie Whittaker would have changed everybody's minds. But if she was written as female properly, and she was actually given decent scripts, you never know. That's all I'll say. I'm not saying it would have worked. I'm saying you never know. We probably would have got something better than what we got the last 5 years. That's what I'll say. But he let her down because he didn't know how to write female characters. And this is why we give out, You can have all your inclusion and your diversity all you want, right? Nobody is against that. Doctor Who has been an inclusive show ever since the classic era. Very inclusive. Behind the camera, on screen, okay? We know, right? It was one of the most diverse shows out there. We were proud that Doctor Who is a diverse show. But what we haven't liked is the show being used as a platform for the last 5 years. And then, as I said, I gave a perfect example yesterday, right? I think it was on Twitter. I don't know if I said it here, but I'll say it again, right? This is the peak of the Chibnall representation. In one of the Dalek New Year specials, he brings a guy out who's working in an office. I think he's doing security, and a Dalek comes along, right? And then obviously he responds back and he goes, "Oh, my boyfriend's waiting for me at home," or some whatever it was, right?
Yeah, it was like one line just to say,
Yeah,
look
he
at me,
gets
I'm
one
gay.
line, right? And he gets killed within 20 seconds of screen time, right? Now, I called our out, but it was called homophobic. No, Chris Chibnall was homophobic because he absolutely has no respect for the LGBTQ plus community. Because if he did, he would have gave that poor bloke more than 20 seconds of screen time. Even better still, would have developed his character properly. And would have gave him some decent lines. But no, that's his representation and the whole shipping nonsense, right? I'm gonna play around with the idea, he said. And then by the
Also,
end,
like, what's his name? Stevens was like, oh, we forgot about it in
yeah,
series 12. That was also a
yeah,
quote.
right. So they forgot about. Then they brought her back, and then the last episode, everybody was expecting, including us. Actually, we were fair the worst. I've got to say. Um, but he never delivered. Then fans tried to make out, but she kissed Jodie on the cheek when she was bringing it. Well, it's still not a full mouth-on-mouth kiss like you wanted. So he didn't give you Tasman. He didn't deliver on Tasman. And again, that was the level of disrespect that Chris Chibnall had for you. But I warned you the last 5 years, you wouldn't listen to me. So you reap what you sow, and now you're throwing your toys out of the pram because David Tennant's back. Well, you can forget about it, right? Stop moaning. It's done. Move on, right? And we're going to move on now for the last 20 minutes, because obviously, we didn't want to get bogged down on Doctor Who. Unless, Charlie, you've got something to add to the end of this. Okay, well, let's go on to our random topic. So if there's anybody in the chat that wants us to quickly talk about something, you can put your suggestions in the chat there,
Yeah,
and I'll
if
throw
we
them
can
up
say
on
anything about it,
screen.
we'll comment.
But I will check in with Queen Charlotte now and find out if there's anything on TV or anything that she's seen that's drove her mad or something that she's enjoying. So, Queen Charlotte, what have you got for us this week?
Well, it's more about basically because Witch is coming out very soon. The showrunner has started to talk again, and she's come out with some belters.
Oh, of course she has.
Oh, this woman, they should not be interviewing her. Which is, of course, because of the whole Henry thing, every interviewer is going to ask her about the Henry situation. So she basically said in the interview, oh, we could have ended it, but we decided not to, which I found interesting. So I was like, so that was an option, by the sounds of it, on the table. But she was like, oh, but we thought we had so much more stories to tell. But that made me giggle more than anything. But the bigger thing was that she was like, oh, and we thought we couldn't have a new Witcher because, and this is the perfect bit, because that wouldn't be following the books. And it's like, love, have you seen your own series? You have gone completely off from the books. At every opportunity going, you have diverted to do your own stuff. But that's why we didn't get a new Witcher. We still got Geralt because that's being true to the books. And
Do these people not even read the source material from what they're like shitting on? I mean, I'm
but no,
sick
it's
and
like I said, it's
tired.
not that aspect. It's more just that she's once again doing this thing of, oh, she does this every interview, trying to make out she keeps to the books and she loves the books, and that's really important. But
But
it's
if
just
she
like,
did, but if she did, right, she wouldn't have got rid of Henry.
well, yes, because Henry wouldn't have butted heads with her. To put it blunt, to be
Right,
blunt.
because to be quite honest with you, yeah, if she was sticking to the source material, Henry would never speak up in the first place because then he'd be saying, "Oh, she does respect
Yes,
the
he'd be
source
happy.
material, right? And I'm happy in what we do because we're sticking to the source material." But that clearly isn't the situation. I mean, Henry even has put up cryptic tweets. He hasn't come out straight and said it. But we all know he was pushed out because
Oh
the
yeah, and
and
the other funny bit is her reasoning, which is, oh, Henry's just going on to a new phase of his life, and that's why he's left.
man. Well, it is a new phase, and hopefully it's a
Yeah, away from
successful
you.
phase because he deserves it. I root for Henry, I have to say. I mean, we lost
Well,
their Superman, so
the
I'm
the
kind of still peeved about that.
what he's filming now, I think he's just finished filming, actually looks really interesting, and I think it's coming out next year.
Mm.
And if people don't know, because I think it's a really interesting concept, is he's playing Ian Fleming, so which is funny considering
Oh
Ian
yeah, Ian Fleming, the creator of James
of Bond.
Bond.
But people don't know about Fleming. He actually did have a Navy career before he wrote the books,
Yeah,
so he
that's
was a
true. Yeah.
serviceman.
They actually did an
And
ITV. Did it wasn't it ITV or BBC did an Ian Fleming series? Do you remember? There was one
I don't
on
know, I think they
recently.
did, didn't they?
Yeah, there was one
Um,
done recently. I heard it was very good. Actually, I don't know because I never watched it, but I think it was called Fleming. I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the chat knows there. But go ahead, Queen Charlotte.
um, and it's based on an actual book, the movie, and it's got a really long title. It's like what the it's and I think this did happen in real life, but obviously a book sort of emphasizes more and goes a bit more over the top, which is basically because Fleming was in the Navy, he was recruited or he was part of a group that was
Yeah,
actually like covert ops, was the vibe I was getting in was it World War One or two? I can't remember which one. So basically, they wrote this book is like something of ungentlemanly warfare is the book, and they're basically Guy Ritchie, who also I love Guy Ritchie, like the most recent stuff. I quite like Guy Ritchie for. So he's directing it. Henry's in it playing Fleming. World War Two. Thank you, Ezra. So yeah, so it's a Guy Ritchie movie that Henry's in, and he's playing Fleming, and a few others, and it's like old and it's this idea of this sort of ragtag group
yeah, like
being
the Dirty
told by
Dozen.
yeah, it's a bit
The,
dirty, doesn't he? I
yeah,
think even like in the book, it was Churchill's idea to make this group. Churchill was like heavily involved in it, and it just sounds fun. And Guy Ritchie's fun, and Henry looks because he posted some like B-roll footage on his Instagram, and you can tell he's just having the time of his life, being like in costume,
yeah.
doing all the fighting and all the sort of because it looks really good to the period as well. You can tell guys really tried to keep this to World War Two, the period and everything in it. And he wrote like the biggest essay saying how much he adored the cast and he loves working with Guy Ritchie and all that.
Yeah, I like Guy Ritchie's movies. There's rumor that he's going to be doing the third Sherlock Holmes movie
I think
with
hasn't that
Robert Downey
that's been like
Jr.
in development for years now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Um, I
What did
did
you think
like
of
the
the second
first
one?
one. I did like the first one. The second one was second one had good moments in it, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
No, I thought that.
Yeah, it was. I just felt the second one was boring. I mean, Moriarty was brilliant in it. The guy playing Moriarty was brilliant, but there just wasn't enough of the go between the two of them before they got to the end scenes. Like, and no, I never. I didn't like the second one as much. Prefer the first one, but if he comes back to do a third one, because I think he has. I think Madonna derailed his career a little bit when she did
Yeah,
it.
he's,
When
he's
she did
getting
a
a second
movie.
win now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting a second win now. So yeah, he's getting back to making the movies that he used to make. And I'm with you. I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan. So yeah, I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. Here's a one from the Walked Eyebrow. He says, I was thinking about Henry Cavill before. I'm thinking about what if Henry just says, I'm gonna create my own spy movie series and F you for not doing James Bond. Well, I don't know. The casting for James Bond hasn't been done yet. I mean, we have seen rumored front runners and stuff like that. But if anybody knows, right, there's been other front runners before. Remember, Pierce Brosnan wasn't front runner. If you actually go back and read the history of, you'll see that they had other actors in line, and I think one of them that they wanted couldn't do it, so they went for Pierce. But Pierce turned out to be a good Bond anyway, just a bit cheesy near the end. Well, that was their fault. They made him real cheesy, um, but look, the casting's not set in stone. But here's the thing: we're all saying we love Henry to do James Bond.
See,
We
I'm
don't
weird. I
know.
wouldn't.
See, I don't know if Henry would want to do James Bond. I mean, after his experience with the Schneiderverse, and the way he was treated there overall, I don't think he wants. Being honest, I think he's going to do these little independent stuff and the stuff that he's been, the Warhammer stuff. I think that's what he's going to do. I don't think he wants to get bogged down on another franchise. See, he'd have to commit to what, 3 movies at least,
At
right?
least.
At least 3 movies, right? And then if he's a success after the first one, right, and especially if the second one does well, then they'll extend his contract. Then that's him. Then said, I know they're a little bit looser with the restrictions that they used to have with actors playing Bond, because I know Daniel Craig managed to make a couple of movies in between
Yeah,
his
just
break,
about, didn't he?
but that would be Henry. If he had any projects that he wanted to do, say, for example, that were on TV, he's not going to have the time to do it. So I don't think he wants, I'm being honest, has he ever come out and publicly said that he'd like to play James Bond? I
Well,
don't know if he
I
has.
think a lot of it came from the fact that he did audition at the same sort of time Craig did, and he basically came second. So, but that was like really early in his career. I agree with you. I think now he wants more freedom, and I think he wants to be able to pick a little bit what projects he does, because, like you said, he's been burnt by Warner Brothers, by The Witcher. He's been burnt
Mhm.
by quite a few high-profile properties.
Exactly. So why would he put his neck? Look, if he does it, I think he will be a great Bond. Right. The thing about it is he'll want some like what Daniel Craig got, and this is the worst thing that I think they start doing
He'll
is
want some
is
creative input.
yeah. I don't think. Look, I some actors like to have. I can understand it from a artist point of view, right? That they want some control to make it feel like their own, right? I get that to a certain extent, but I do believe they give these actors that play Bond too much power, right? Now, I'm not saying that Daniel Craig. Look, I mean Henry. I'm being honest. If we got a Henry Bond, he'd probably want to bring it back to the Cold War era or something like that, or even before, the early 50s, late 50s, something like going into the 60s, even like what Sean Connery did, and I'd be all for that. From that
Yeah,
point of view, I think
and he'd
he'd
also
do that.
want to have it close to the books again, and
Exactly,
current
that's what I
day would
mean.
not like Bond from the books.
I don't know. I mean, I think, look, they've got a lot of Bond fans have said that. You know, we've gotten some great Bond movies over the years, but we've never had too many of the books done play for play on film. Um, you know, they've came close, obviously, but we've never had, as some fans would say, a pure James Bond. Now, I think Casino Royale's pretty close, but that's an updated version, obviously. But I think that came close. I think Daniel Craig's first movie is actually a masterpiece, to be quite honest with you. Um, but look, we'll see what Henry does. But I really do think he wants, as Queen Charlotte said, and it's a fair point. He's been burnt so many times. He probably, it's a huge commitment as well. James Bond. It's if you say yes to James Bond, it's not in the same. Like, I mean, Doctor Who's not in the same stratosphere, right? But the actor that gets cast James Bond gets cast as Doctor Who gets a lot of attention, and it's the same with James Bond. The actor that's cast in the role, a lot of attention's on them. The spotlight is on them 24/7, what their fitness regime. And I know he does all of that
Yes.
anyway and stuff like that. But the pressures of all of that, and then he's got to then prove to everybody that he's the right choice for his first movie and all of this. And, I don't think he wants the hassle, to be honest. I hope he does, because I think he'd make a great Bond, because I don't like the choices that they've shown us. I mean, they just look too
Do you know what
scrawny
I
to
would
me.
actually prefer him to do in a Bond movie? I think he'd
Villain.
play a good villain. I think he'd play a cracking Bond villain.
I think yeah,
You could almost be
yeah.
that idea of whoever the
But
Bond is
I'd
at
love
the
him to be a villain that's, not a one-off villain. Like the
yes.
old Sean Connery movies. He had the overarching story with a villain. They could do the same with Daniel, with Henry Cavill. Have him, not necessarily kill him off in the first movie, but think that he's dead. Then we find out, say, right at the end, maybe the second movie, that he's alive, and then the third movie, then they play it out cat and mouse for the whole bleeding
I think
movie. It'd be great. He was already a villain in Mission Impossible. Yeah, he was good in Mission Impossible, though.
I
He was,
just think he wants to he's a bit typecast at the moment, and I think he wants to maybe break that a bit. So I think I'm playing a really good villain in something.
yeah. Well, he's still there, Superman. So
Yeah, problem. I've watched him in Man in Uncle. He's brilliant in that.
yeah,
But I just think he
yeah.
would
You don't want
be.
him as Bond. I wouldn't mind him as Bond. But I can see where you're coming from. But I can see myself that he
Oh, I can
seems to
see.
want.
Yeah, I can
Yeah, he
completely see
wants
the
to do those
appeal.
independent. He wants to do those independent things. And you know what? Fair play to him. If he's going to be doing these small projects that are going to support little companies like that, well, it just goes to show you that he's got integrity, and he's already shown the fans and shown his supporters that he has integrity. Where he'd rather walk away than let something be ruined, and I think the Superman thing will probably be the one that he won't say publicly, but I say that one hurts the most. For the simple fact is first he was let go, then he was
He
brought
got
back
messed
in the
around.
blaze of glory, then he was brought back in the blaze of glory. Now he's still Superman. Then James Gunn comes in, and then now he's not Superman anymore. Oh, but I didn't make the decision. And then a few weeks later, we find out it's all a bunch of bull. Like, you just didn't want Henry Superman, fair enough, just own it. But that's what they did to him, right? And then on top of that, then as Charlotte said, you got all that Witcher stuff going on, and he felt he couldn't work in that environment anymore. And remember, Henry is not really afraid to say anything. He's put out we know exactly what he's saying. And remember when that reporter tried to get him to slag fans off for being angry about stuff, and he says, "Well, listen, I get where they're coming from. They want us to stick to the source material. I understand that." And the journalist's face, like,
Yeah, it was just like he'd been hit, wasn't it?
yeah, with a bus or something, a double
Yeah.
decker. But that just goes to show you he has integrity. So, he's not always going to get things. He did Sherlock, he did Doctor Who. Why not take on all the
Did he do
British role?
Doctor Who? Henry's not been in Doctor Who.
I don't think he's talking about Doctor Who. I think he's talking
Okay.
about Tom Baker. Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
someone mentioned Tom Baker. Yeah, Tom Baker is James Bond. I don't know if I see that now, to be quite honest, with that hair.
Too eccentric for
I
me.
mean, if
Too
he got the
eccentric.
hair cut real short, we have seen him in short hair before. I remember. I suppose if he combed the hair back and put on a tux, nah, he's too. No, he wouldn't pass as James Bond. Nah.
He would stand out too much. Bond needs to be able to, when he wants to, sort of hide in the shadows and not be noticed. And Warped Eyebrow asked me a while ago, have I got a favourite actress? Oh, that's hard. I think one that I'll always watch if they're in something is Julie Walters, because
Yeah,
for me, she's one of those rare sorts that she can do comedy and be incredibly funny, but then
yeah.
she can do serious.
Do you know what's annoying me? Is that
What?
she should have been cast in Doctor Who a long time
Oh,
ago. I
yeah.
mean,
Has she? She's not got to, has she?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They need to cast her in Doctor Who.
Yes.
I mean, like how she's never been cast in Doctor Who is beyond me. I mean, she's a legend in my eyes, man.
Well, that's the
She's
thing
a,
also. She started on telly, didn't she? Like she
yeah,
worked up to. That's what also I love
yeah.
about her
I'd
is
love her to be in Doctor Who. She'd play a great character. Play someone's granny in Doctor Who now, because she's obviously a little bit older.
she loves playing old. But I
But
think the part that I will always adore her for, and I don't know how people react to this, is her Mamma Mia role, because I will never forget that time when I watched it, and that scene when she's singing "Take a Chance on Me," and like I said, that movie only about one of them could sing in that cast. The rest of
yeah,
them were
I know.
terrible. But with Julie Walters, it worked because
Yeah,
in that scene, she's basically drunk. Her character's had a few too many, and she's decided, I'm going to just try and get this bloke. That's all that scene is, and it's brilliant. Her like literally walking on the tables, going like on the roof. That's what I love about her, the kookiness.
yeah, she's a
But
great
then she can
actress.
be scary as well. Like when
Mm,
she has played those sort of older roles, when she's like, oh, what was she in? Did you watch it? It had Billy Piper in The Ruby in the Smoke.
no.
It was like a BBC thing, and she was the villain. She was like this old woman who was like after Billy Piper's character, and she was a nasty piece of work.
Mm.
And she was really like nasty and scary. And you were like, yeah, I'm not gonna get on the wrong side of her. Oh, and Harry Potter as well. She was Molly Weasley, and she was really good in that. So
You
my
never know. She
go-to,
might get recast in this new Harry Potter nonsense, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Julie Waters' Bond says problem being never watched it.
yeah,
I
no, I get
value
it,
ABBA
Blee. Like I
too
said,
much.
only one of them could
Yeah.
sing in that cast.
I had the unfortunate night watching that movie. I like ABBA. I like a good tribute ABBA act. I have to say, I went and seen a few tribute ABBA acts that are not bad. I get why people love Mamma Mia. It makes people happy, but
Yeah, if you treat it as non-serious,
in all seriousness, as a homage to ABBA's music, It's absolutely effing disgusting.
Well, yeah. Talking about Bond,
But
when you got Pierce Brosnan trying to sing and
oh
sound
man, don't
like a
even go
strangled
there. You put
cat.
that image in my head. And with that, look, we're gonna wrap it up there. I'm gonna have the image of Pierce Brosnan now singing feckin' bleeding. Oh, anyway, thank you for joining us. PD couldn't join us tonight because he only got back from where did he say? He was somewhere far anyway, and he just got in, so he's a bit tuckered out.
Bit
But
tired,
I
God love him.
but I want to thank me co-host Queen Charlotte for joining me tonight. I'll be back on Friday. 3 streams. Don't forget, we've got the member stream, we've got the Tardis talks, and we've got Friday night contact 9 o'clock. So come and join me. That's my shout outs. So we'll let Queen Charlotte do hers as well.
Yep, so you'll catch me on the Spacebook tomorrow night. Now I know what we're actually doing. Is going to be an Eighth Doctor sort of love fest, talking about the Eighth Doctor, because it's the anniversary, I think, of the movie this week. So we're going to sort of tie it all in. And then me and Daniel did like a chill stream last week where we sort of similar format. We talked a bit about everything. So if you want to catch me and Daniel having a good natter, you can watch.
Yeah,
You
I
can catch
watched
that on
that
his
stream.
channel.
I was there for that one. I watched that stream. Very good. Yeah, that's they're the type of streams that he should be doing. He's enjoying them. It was nice to hear his talk about different stuff. I do love when he goes on these little rants though. It's brilliant. But if you haven't checked it out, please do because it was a good stream. And he's going to be doing more of those. And I know he has other plans for the channel as well. So go and check out Scottish Davros and Friends Wrestle with Pop Culture. Okay, we'll leave it there for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm off now to dress my leg again because the pain, but it's healing up now, so that's good. For anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, I damaged the back of my calf. Basically, there was a hole in the back of my leg, and don't ask. I was moving stuff and it fell on me. But yeah, what you call it? It was healing up lovely, but then I banged it off something, and then it gushed all out again. So like now I've been treating it and putting special cream and dressing it all up. Yes, I am. I'm getting
Yeah,
old, man.
problem. He's just a walking disaster area now. Like
I
it's just you're
know.
always ill or injured yourself, haven't you?
I know. I know. It hasn't been a good start to the summer at all. Um, but I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. It's grand. It's grand. It's grand. It's it's getting to that point now where things are just catching up with me. It happens. It happens. Anyway, I'm going to say good night to you all. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget, as I said, we'll be back on Friday. We'll have our membership stream first, and then obviously we'll be doing all that other stuff. And then, as I said, maybe next week or the week after, it will be within the next 2 weeks anyway. I'll be taking a week off to get the living room and other bits and pieces painted that I was supposed to do 3 months, 4, 5, maybe 6 months ago, whatever it is. But I better get it done because we want to have it all nice for the summer and stuff. So yeah, I'm busy. Right. Anyway, we will put up some pre-records and stuff like that. They won't be too long, but I'll put up stuff to keep you going until I come back live again. So yeah, just giving you a heads up anyway, just to prepare you. But we'll leave it there. Anything else to add, Charlotte, before we finish up?
No, just everybody enjoy the good weather finally we're getting, so have fun with that.
That's it. Enjoy it. See you later, folks. Have a good one. Good night. Take
Good night.
care. Look after yourselves, and we will see you all very, very soon.